And we want to come back here home. We want to talk about a topic that we touched on our morning show. You probably saw it late last week, and you probably saw our next guest who's in studio on your TV screen here on WCNC Charlotte, WCNC Plus, Rick Hererra. So he's the co-founder of the Hispanic Heritage Festival. And he got a chance to talk with one of our reporters, Richard Devane, about the festival being canceled. And the reasons behind it, you've probably seen it in different places. You probably heard about it. I saw the story. You can catch that story right now on our digital platforms. But I thought it was important to bring in Rick here on the stream. And before we get into that, again, Rick is the co-founder of the Hispanic Heritage Festival of the Carolinas. Before we get into the festival, we had a unique conversation about Charlotte.
We did.
You're from Charlotte. I asked my guests from time to time because we meet people, we have people on who have been in Charlotte maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years, but people are relatively new to the area. You grew up here in Charlotte.
Yeah. Nick, first of all, thanks for having me. And it was a great conversation, just how Charlotte has grown. But yeah, I've been here since I'm 54. I've been here since I was 8 years old. So certainly a lot of changes, a lot of growth in our community. I've seen the development of this beautiful city. I really have, and it's been wonderful to see it grow and myself grow along with it.
You grew up along South Boulevard?
I did, yeah. We used to go where Queens Park used to be the movie theater to go to, not the AMCs. And, now it's the railroad that you have there, but that was our movie theater. So we lived right there. It was Sloan Street, Hollis Road. Very diverse community at that time. Vietnamese, Black, South Americans, white. It was a combination. It was a combination, and just the memory of how fun it was living in those times.
Before we get to the festival and why it was canceled, I do want to ask, how has the city changed? I know physically things have grown, but culturally, how has it changed in your time here, growing up here and now being a voice here, being a leader here? How has it changed?
It's changed dramatically, like I said. But the most important thing that has not changed is that Southern charm, that Southern hospitality. And as a Latino, growing up here and having friends here and seeing so many different industries like roofing, landscaping, that are done a lot of it by our Latino workers, right? And to see them grow as well, to see them make this country and this city part of their everyday life. Planting, their roots here. You miss home, but this is home to us. This is home. And like I said, just being here, meeting just different people's different walk of lives. It's a melting pot. Charlotte is beautiful. Charlotte's a beautiful city.
Yeah, Carlene's gonna get sick of me. I'd say I'm from High Point. She knew it was coming.
You gotta mention it.
I gotta mention it because I grew up not far from Charlotte. We used to pop down to Charlotte all the time. So it is, in a way, seeing the city change and then moving here almost a couple of years ago. And it's just different from what you remember as a kid. And it's just, time. It just shows you how fast time moves.
Sometimes I ride along South Boulevard with my wife, and it's nostalgic because sometimes I drop a tear just to see the growth because of the growth, but also it's like, this is where I used to ride my bikes. This is where I used to deliver the newspaper in a bike route. I had a bike route. My mother and I would sit there with rubber bands, and back then it still is a leading newspaper here. That's what we would do. That was my part-time money, or since I was 13, I was working since I was 13 years old. So that was my bike route. Handling and putting the rubber bands and your hands being all just from the ink, and then you go and deliver. So kind of a Leave It to Beaver moment, or the last stuff in my era.
I was about to say Leave It to Beaver. Okay, let's get into it. 2022, correct me if I'm wrong, you start the Hispanic Heritage Festival.
We did.
Why 2022? Why start it then? I guess, where did you get the idea from? The festival is in September. That's Hispanic Heritage Month. But what prompted you to start the festival?
Yeah, I mean, there's been many festivals that have started here in the community, and I've been lucky enough to either be part of their growth as a co-founder or from the inception of different festivals. And there are many wonderful festivals throughout our community, in the Charlotte and surrounding areas, Gastonia as well. And some of the festivals cater just to a particular community, like a Colombian festival or Ecuadorian festival or Peruvian. Ours is a combination of kind of a little bit of everything. And mind you, those festivals are great because not only Ecuadorians show up, or Colombians or Peruvians, Venezuelans. So it's a melting pot that supports that. You can call it a little bit of a cultural movement, right? And the idea is just, hey, how do we honor or celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month? You know, because it includes everyone. The islanders that sometimes are forgotten, which are the Cubans, the Dominicans, the Puerto Ricans, right?
Yeah.
So we wanted to be inclusive of everyone, or try to be inclusive of everyone. And remember that around that time, that was, COVID, post-COVID. So the idea was basically people, and just seeing, hey, can we try to do something that includes everyone? And not only that, but can we do something to where our name could be highlighted, not as Latinos, but as our name as members of this community, right? And we thought, why not try to do something downtown, right? Because some of the festivals are in other parts of the city, but something downtown. And last year was wonderful because we ended it with fireworks. So, you try to do a little bit better, right? And kind of somewhat mimic what other great festivals have done, and try to bring a little bit of culture down to the downtown area as well, or a little bit more Latino flavor.
Yeah, and it is at Truist Field, right?
It is at Truist Field, yes.
For those who have never been to the festival, what is that like? Having, because I've read thousands of people show up, and I'm sure it's a lot to wrap your hands around organizing it. But the night of that festival, what is that like for you?
That's a great question because the great thing is that 10 to 11,000 people show up in one day. Yeah, it's massive in the aspect of the logistics and the organization, and everything starts weeks prior and all of that. But the fun part, like you said, is not only being able to see the representation culturally, musically, food-wise, right, through the festival, but at nighttime it ends up being a concert. Yeah. It ends up being a concert for the community, not just the Latino community, because we have great artists. I think the first year we bought Grammy award-winning Elvis Crespo, and then Gente de Zona does a lot with Mark Anthony, big artists, right? Okay. Huge artists. So it ends up being like a concert. So it's funny because you'll see people that come during the day, and some will stay at night. Some will just come at night just for the concert, So.
A little bit for everybody.
Yeah, a little bit for everybody. Right, the kids as well. So yeah.
But you decided to cancel it this year. Yeah. I read, and again, correct me if I'm wrong. I read that you started thinking about this months ago, canceling it. Why? And I understand. I don't want to sound naive, and obviously the elephant in the room concerning ICE, right? Yeah. But where did you get to the point where you said, hey, this is a thought to, okay, I'm going to go ahead and cancel it?
Yeah. When things hit home, you act differently because it hits home. So when you have personal friends that have been affected directly by that, then you see the news, because you never think it's going to get to you. Yeah. You always just, I know it's out there, the flu, it's out there. Yeah. This is out there. But when it hits home, that's when your defensive mode comes up, because it's just a defense mechanism. So for me, it was saying, okay, if it's hitting home, how are others dealing with this in the community? So we started just asking some questions, and hey, we got a lot of calls too about the festival. You guys, what are you looking to do? Are you still going to hold it? Because we hadn't done any marketing for it, right? Because we were just thinking, what do we do? And I think you have to ask your question, that question, which is, you want to be profitable, or do you really want to, kind of face what reality is? And that reality is what's happening in the immigration scenario right now. The immigration climate is hot. it's hot. You can't deny it. You can't deny it. And this is not a political stance for us. Mm-hmm. It's just more of a safety stand for us. What do I mean by that is, when you have a large mass of groups, 10 to 11,000, to me, it would have been an invitation for people who did not want there.
Yeah.
So you do something like that massive that we're well known for. It's an invitation for perhaps, or the opportunity for someone to come and say, you know what, we're going to set up camp here, and that's not what we want. We wanted to make sure that our community was safe, our vendors were safe, mm-hmm. and our name, reputation goes a long way.
Did you get any negative feedback when you decided to cancel? Because there are other events slated to happen.
Yeah.
Within the Hispanic culture, there are more events slated to happen later this year.
They're coming, and I work with some of these festivals, and I wish them the best. I really do. For us, it was just that, downtown. When you look at the logistics, how the streets are downtown, no exit. Even though Choice is a private venue, they have been wonderful to us. And they have worked with us and certainly understand what negative comments. Yeah, obviously you're gonna get that, right? And but for the most part, have been thank yous. And it's most unfortunate this is happening, but it's to us is I couldn't sleep if knowing that one person or one family got divided because we decided to hold an event. To me, that wasn't worth it.
How have you handled this mentally? Because you've done press, you're doing another interview right now about it. You're constantly thinking about it. It's constantly on your mind. How have you been able to handle this mentally?
It's been tough.
Yeah.
I can only imagine you driving through town and all your paperwork is right.
Yeah.
But things do happen. Mm-hmm. And what do I mean by that? So many cases to where people have been pulled over and there's no questions asked. It's get in here, and then we're going to figure this out later because you match a certain description.
Right.
And that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Let's not sugarcoat it. That's what's happening. So with me, I have a plan. Something happens, I have to have a plan. So, again, when it hits home, that's when you start retweaking things and thinking, hey, maybe I need to look at this. And that's what we did. That's what we started doing as a family as well. And it's mentally draining, but you still have to go on. So I can only imagine, and I've seen our community, I see my community, when I pulled up right next to them and say hello, the look and the fear in their eyes. Mm-hmm. You could see it. Yeah. You could see it. And it's heartbreaking, to see that.
Have any other festival organizers reached out as far as advice on what they should do? Has that been a conversation?
No, I have not spoken with them, but I'm sure they do an amazing job.
Yeah.
They do an amazing job. The other festivals do an amazing job. I've been around longer than us as well. And I'm sure that they're taking safety measures as well. I'm sure that they want the best for their community. And I have no doubt that that hopefully nothing happens. I have no doubt that they'll have a lot of considerations, and those conversations. What do we do if? Right? The if. What if?
Right.
So, I do wish them the best. I do.
2026. What does that look like?
Oh my goodness.
Do we have a festival in 2026?
Yeah. that's. So 2026 is right around the corner, right?
Yeah.
Do we start planning? Yeah. And that's what we're doing. So we're starting to plan for 2026. And the question is, will it happen? And the best answer I can give you is, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I can't see the future. I don't know what's a year from now the temperature will be like. Would it be, is the immigration temperature going to be hotter? Mm-hmm. Is it going to fizzle out, or is it going to remain? Now, I will tell you this. If it stays the same, it might be a conversation that we may not do it again.
Right.
Yeah. Because if it's important enough for 1 year, why is it not important next year? To me, it's a lot of money that people want to come out and stuff, but again, that's not worth it to me. It's not. Safety for my community comes first. To us.
Rick, before I get you out of here, what does the rest of this year look like? What does 2026 look like for you personally? aside from the festival, aside from all that comes with it, if there will be a festival or not in 2026, what does this look like, the rest of the year, 2026, look like for you?
I hope it's ends up being the year that it's been, well, maybe less stressful. Maybe less stressful. I wish it was less stressful. So all I can maybe best summarize that as I've not taken a vacation in a couple of years, so maybe hopefully I can go to the mountains and kind of relax.
Yeah.
That would be my ultimate goal, if I could do something personally just to get away for a little bit and maybe a few days and relax and get away from all the stuff that's going around, right?
Yeah.
And but I appreciate the question and appreciate the time here with y'all. It's important for people that have never known about the festival canceling or never knew that the festival existed. If I can invite them to visit our social media platforms at Hispanic Heritage Festivals of the Carolinas, then they could probably see or keep in touch if you wanted to come to the event and see what we bring to the community. We'd love to have you.
A vacation doesn't sound bad, Carlene. It doesn't sound bad at all, Rick. I completely understand. Rick, thank you for taking time to be here. It was a pleasure talking to you about it. Again, that's Rick Hererra, founder of the Hispanic Heritage Festival